Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creators Inspires episode 2 again. And the reason why we're having this a second time around because last time Mrs. Antipa was unable to connect, and we were actually unable to connect. But we're giving this another go so we can talk about how to transform grief, honoring those we lost. And so I want Alexandra to give her another opportunity to share her story, share her inspiration, so that she be able to reach out to many of you from her book, Stories of the Heart, When Memories Become Treasures. So, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Gabriella. Lemonita. I hope I said that correctly. Hello, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, not Gabriella. Oh, and here is our inspirational author, Alexandra. I'm going to, once she requests to join, then I'll get her on, and then we can start the discussion. So I hope everyone is doing well today. How are you doing? It's just been a quick week. Everything's just going by so fast. I can't believe it's August. Can you believe it? And with everything that's going on in the world, it's just you're just trying to understand it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm just gonna connect with Alexandria.
Hi,
Hi, Alexandria. How are you?
fine, thanks. I hope today we'll have a better chat. I hope the internet will be our friend.
Yes, it sounds like it so far. Yay! Don't
Okay,
disconnect now.
okay, that sounds
So
great.
thank you so much for taking the time to join again. I mean, sometimes
No
everything
problem.
happened for a reason. Maybe we need to do it once again and, get into
Yes,
the flow of things.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So I just want you to please, like as last time, share with the audience a little information about yourself, and then we'll go into your book and what inspires you, and then the conversation will flow along from there. So please go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Alexandra Antipa. I'm 35 years old, and I have written a book, a memoir about people I have loved and lost. And the inspiration for my book came from losing so many people and trying to deal with all those negative emotions and feeling angry all the time and wanting for those feelings, for those uncomfortable feelings to pass. And one day I looked at myself and what I was feeling, and I thought it would be better to try and make a change and see things from a different perspective.
Mm,
To understand that maybe we do not have control over what happens, but we can control how we respond.
very true. It's so important that you said that about not having control, because if 2020 has taught us anything, is that,
Yes.
for those of you who have lost anyone to the coronavirus, my prayers go out to you. Anyone who's,
Yeah.
directly impacted, and I feel like we're all impacted, but some have been more impacted than others. Losing close relatives, losing friends, losing, spouses, pets, even pets are being affected by this. And death is something that comes in. It's a natural part of life. And a lot of us are afraid of it. A lot of us are not sure how to respond to that. A lot of times it makes us suffer. It makes us wonder, like, why did God take away someone who was so dear to me? Or why, the world has to be the way it is. And I feel Alexandra's book, Stories for the Heart, is just such a powerful book because it talks about the different ways of how to cope with the different people you've lost. And Alexandra, from the beginning to the end, she shares multiple stories. I'm so grateful when I read her book. I'm so grateful that I haven't encountered so many deaths in my life, but from her perspective, and encountering so many deaths, there's a level of anger, a level of trying to understand like why did I lose certain people in my life. And Alexandra, could you continue going from that? Like certain parts in the book that you talk about. I last time we spoke, we talked about your grandfather who was very
Yes.
healthy, he wasn't sick, and that was kind of like something that just happened, and how that
Out of
affected you.
yeah. I thinking about each death,
Hmm.
I noticed that we always want to be prepared for it, but we are
Hmm.
not because we do not know when it will happen.
That's true.
And with my grandfather in particular, we had this notion he would live forever. He didn't seem sick. He was in perfect health. As I said in the book, he even went to the dentist in his 70s, and that
Yes.
was because he wanted to improve his teeth.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he got sick, and things spiraled from there. In just a short period of time, he was gone, and
Mm.
we had we had no time to cope with this. But I believe we should try to find something like the power of acceptance.
Yes.
We we cannot control it. I repeat and repeat again because this is the lesson I try to teach myself, because it's clear that we will face death many times in our lives.
Hmm.
And I believe we by learning how to respond to each death, we become more resilient to others, because we learn not to take things for granted, to spend more time with the ones we love, because this is something we sorely miss these days. Our family is away, we cannot see them. This pandemic has changed our daily routine, our lives, and
Hmm.
we get to spend little time with the ones we love. But I believe once this is over, we should do this. We should try and seek out connection more,
Hmm.
and less material things, less buying all the time of things we don't need, but rather invest in experiences.
Wow. Invest in experiences. Very, very true. And I think, what's happening right now, a lot of us have been so focused on, our wants and our plans and wanting to, like a lot of us didn't anticipate 2020 to be like this.
Yes.
We all planned to take vacation. I know, for instance, I had planned to have a trip just before the coronavirus hit. I was supposed to go to Italy, Greece, and Egypt, like country hopping right in the midst of the coronavirus. And I said to myself, oh, I'm gonna go, nothing's gonna happen to me, until I had a dream. I had dream and I had warnings, and I said, you know, um, something warned me. Like I felt myself dying when I was going to,
Yeah.
those countries, and I decided not to go. I lost a lot of money, but I was like, I didn't care, because
Yeah.
can you imagine losing the connection to the people who you hold so dear in your? I felt like that was more to lose than me losing some money for not going
Yeah.
to a trip that could have been detrimental. And I was supposed to be in Venice at the time, and that's when Venice got hit. And I thought
Yeah.
about all the different what ifs. And you don't have control over it, but you can control your, how you experience life, as you said, and how you go about connecting with the people around you. Material things are important. Yes, we need money, but don't be so focused on it, and just
Yeah.
focus on the fact that you have the people you love around us. So very important point that you make. Now, tell us a little about like I know, the different aspects of the different deaths that happen in your life, but what truly inspired you to like sit down and just write this all out, write this book, chapter by chapter, talking about every single death that you've encountered. What inspired you to do that?
So the main reason was my dad. He
Mm-hmm.
was the one person in my life I would have liked to, I know, get to know better, and I didn't have the time. I was still young when he died.
Mm.
And for many years, I sat at my desk and I said, I need to write something about it. I didn't mean it at the time to be a book, but I need to write.
Mm-hmm.
I need to remember all those good times we had together. And I needed to heal. And I thought, what a better way to do that than through my writing. I repeat, I did not consider myself a writer or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I needed that release. And my husband was the one who told me you should write about this more, and he encouraged me to do this. And slowly it evolved in a book because I realized from each death I learned something. And the one lesson that accumulated it all was to love other people. Doesn't matter if they are friends, colleagues, family members. When we open our hearts and love other people, we feel better too.
Yes, that's very true. And love is such an important topic right now because it's subject to so many different definition from different perspective about how we encounter love. And the real truth is that love is universal. Love is everywhere. It comes in, different shape, size, it doesn't matter, different race, different color, it does not matter. Love is love because we're all one. And so it's so important when you said about how your father kind of inspired you to write that book, because journaling, you probably started journaling your thoughts, and it did you find like it was healing for you, like it was as you said, it was a release, but did you find
Yeah.
yourself healing to learning to deal with it? Because a lot of times we go to therapists or we talk to someone that we love, but there's such a different aspect about when you write something down on an actual piece of paper, and it's just so powerful because I feel like we're manifesting our own healing in the journey. How did you find that in your writing?
I believe that we have a lot of things in our head, a lot of thoughts that we cannot comprehend, but when we put them on paper, then we cannot no longer deny them. They
Yeah.
are there written. And in writing about death, I cried a lot, of course. It was
Mhm.
impossible not to. But at the same time, I realized I remembered more about the life of that person and how it influenced mine. And I think this is the cornerstone of this book,
Mhm.
to remember people we lost and to tell others about them,
That's true.
because we come from so many generations and these are part of us, and it is up to us, the ones who live presently, to, I don't know, to remind others that we are, exactly as you said, one, and we come from so many people and we are so many different personalities, and yet we go through the same experiences, more or less different, of course.
Yes. Wow. Yes, that is very true. We do go through the same experiences, and there's no but about that. And I want to say, it's all depends on perspective and how we view that experience, because we all can relate to some level about losing someone, and how that can impact our lives, impact the way we see ourselves. And I've known people who have lost, like, parents, lost children, especially children. Is that's even a tough one when you want to protect your child or something, and then they come into this world and then suddenly they're gone. Like, how do you deal with that? And I feel like your book really helped me to grasp the understanding about, having a present moment, the power of being in the now, the power of
Yes.
understanding that the past is the past, the future is the future, but the present moment is all we have this very moment. You and I talking, everyone who's joined this live, this is this very present moment. And this importance of being in the present is what helps us to become more at peace, to understand that there's less suffering when we are in the now moment, and how we gear our thoughts, and how we focus our energy on the different levels to ourselves. Now, speaking about the presence, you mentioned last time in our last video, how the present moment was so important, because I felt like there was an element of that throughout the book, where you talked about how you have to hone the experiences, hone the moment. Like, how did you come up with that idea? Was it a point of reflection, or was it a point of maybe that's just how you see the world? Because sometimes when you reflect on these ideas, it comes to you.
Of course, our views are always subjective, no matter what we say.
Yes.
But I believe any of us spend a lot of time looking at others.
Hmm.
And of course, I saw everyone having the same approach. We are always waiting for something, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want my husband to come home from work and spend more time with our daughter so that I can have some free time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want summer to come to be warm, but we are in Germany, so that's no problem. It's never warm here. And I find myself waiting, and I argue with myself and say, why are we waiting? Why aren't you living now and enjoying the present moment? Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
you may not have this,
Mm-hmm.
and you will find yourself wanting that present moment, which is gone. It's so fleeting, and we are wasting it on such trivial things, on arguing, on, I don't know, envying others, on wishing we had things we don't really need, but because someone else has it, perhaps I would want it too.
Yes.
But we don't spend so much time on thinking about us and how we could help others and how we could become closer to others. We drift apart instead of coming together. I think this is a major problem today.
That's so true. And I mean, if the coronavirus, this whole pandemic has taught us anything about, the fact that quarantine actually brought us very close together. For some, because I feel like, yes, we have social media, we have the internet. I do feel like some people probably spend more time than they did on social media than they did before. But it's not really, this is not what needs to happen, in my opinion. I feel like it's time for us to kind of go within and see areas of our life that we can change, areas of our life that we can reflect on, and how are we going to move forward as a collective, how are we going to move forward, in terms of the way we experience life with each other. Is it going to be more stress, always on the go, trying to get this and that done? And I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm very guilty of it. I have my to-do list every single day. But when quarantine happened, the to-do list went out the door. It literally did, because it made me realize, like, the fact that I was supposed to go on this trip and it didn't happen. I said, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, because who knows? People are not that connected to realize that, that's a warning sign. There's something trying to tell you here. Is keep it together, be patient. Things will work out, but you have to be in the now moment. Now, I would like for you to share, a chapter, a brief chapter, a paragraph or two from your book. A chapter that last time you shared about your grandfather. And I felt like
Yes.
that was so important. And if you'd like to share that again, there's no, absolutely. But is there another chapter that also influenced, definitely connect to you, or somebody you lost?
So I looked through the book once more
Yeah.
today, think what I would like to read. I would
Yes.
like to read it all, but there is no enough time. So
Okay.
I thought about the end of the book because it speaks exactly to this living in the moment thing and practicing gratitude,
Yes.
which is another problem today. We always find things that are missing instead of looking at the things that we have. We want more, never enough. Of course, that is the human way.
Mhm.
This is how we are programmed, but it is up to us to model that need a little bit.
Very true.
So I'll read about a little bit about it. Yeah.
Sure.
When Dad died, which was the single most devastating thing that has ever happened to me, I promised myself not to live a superficial existence anymore. I worked hard to improve who I was and tried to appreciate my family and friends to their true value. I believe that death teaches us to become more attentive to our way of life and to make changes where necessary. Becoming a mother, I have learned to appreciate life even more. I am now responsible for a human being, one that has yet to find out about death and its meaning. She suffers when one of her stuffed toys fails, or if we happen to kill a fly. Her sensitivity is the reason for which I need to be as comfortable with death as possible. If I cannot handle death, then I cannot teach her to become resilient as well. And she needs to be strong, otherwise she will grow up thinking that the world is only a scary place. We should never allow death to be more important than life. Life is so beautiful and precious. but we almost always tend to concentrate on the bad things. I have once read a quote that said life is like a piano, with the good things being the white keys and the black ones standing as symbols of less pleasant experiences. You cannot have one without the other, just as you cannot have sunshine without a little bit of rain. What I am trying to say is that we need to embrace life with everything it has to offer. I take delight in the first sip of tea in the morning, the laughter of my daughter, and the way my husband looks at me when he plans on doing something funny. I love opening a book for the first time and smelling its ink, listening to a song again and again, and hearing the trains coming into the station near my building. 10 years ago, I was involved in a car accident. My husband was driving when another driver appeared on our lane coming from the opposite direction. He swerved the car and we crashed into a tree. I had never had an experience like that. From the moment I saw another car, actually it was a bus, coming towards us, and up to the moment of impact, time seemed infinite. I grabbed the support on the side of the car and prepared for the worst. And as I closed my eyes and panicked, my entire life flashed before my eyes. It was just like in the movies. Finishing kindergarten and going to school, starting high school, going to college, meeting my husband, all of the big moments. The film ended with my dad, and I thought I was going to die. Even though the front of the car was damaged, we did not sustain any injuries. But the image of my dad had such a strong impact on me. I saw that it meant I would die, but now, after all this time, I know that he was the one who protected me against death. We may lose people, but they remain forever in our souls, and maybe they still look after us from above. I believe in heaven no matter what anyone says. I believe in my dad being in a better place, thinking about me as much as I think about him. There is no big secret to life other than we should be grateful for being alive. It does not matter how many possessions we accumulate, if we drive a fancy car or have an expensive house. But it does matter if we love and are loved in return. Thank you.
Wow. I'm just gonna let that sweep in for a little bit. I like that. I like that last one. You know, it doesn't matter what we have, a fancy car, what we drive, who we're dating, who we're married to, how many, much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter. And it's just so important that we learn to be very grateful, learn to love each other. And, love is something that we're still working on as a human race. It is something, it's so simple, yet so complicated, isn't it? It's like we say love, and some of us don't even want to use the word because we don't even know what it really means. I for one, as I go through life and as I go through my experiences with different people, some good, some bad, I'm learning to accept people for who they are, regardless of however you may see them. And and I think acceptance comes with love, and also forgiveness comes with love. And it's you raised a very important point. I think I like the part where you said about, teaching your daughter about if you fear death, then you're not teaching her how to be resilient.
Yeah.
That really stood out to me. And how do we teach others to be resilient, because this life is challenging. It is, we're there's no cookie cutter way to put it, but we are going to experience challenge. No matter how spiritual you are, no matter how nice you are, challenges are just going to come at you any other way. Death is going to come to us. It's a natural part of life. And, the more we accept it, the more we understand that, it's just the flow and the nature of things. So living in this now, in this present moment, is so important. Thank you so much for sharing that, Alexandra. Now, Alexandra's book, Stories for the Heart, When Memories Become Treasures, is available on Amazon.com. But I also want her to share, where else can others find your book? Is there another book incoming? I think I asked that last time, but you say you're not sure. Maybe a hint of an idea came up after that. So, please share more information.
So the book, unfortunately, at the time is only available on Amazon, but I'm working on it, so
Yeah.
it becomes more available.
Hmm.
You gave me the idea of perhaps following up with this book, perhaps a sequel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps something about life. It would be a nice change to share some of the experiences I had with people who inspired me.
Oh, that's a great
But
idea.
as for a new book, I have written another one for children. It is inspired by my daughter,
Okay. What's the
and
name of this book? This children's
the
book.
book will be called The Little Big Detectives.
Okay.
And the idea came from the fact that she has a stuffed cat that she loves so much. And one night, thinking how fast time flies, and soon probably she won't like it anymore, she will say, I'm too big for it, or something like that. I said it would be nice to transform it into something permanent, and I made her into a story. So, together with my daughter, who is the main character, they are detectives and they solve cases with misbehaving toys.
Oh, that's a very cute idea. Oh my. Is it available on Amazon as yet?
In a couple of days, it will be available, yes.
Okay. Please share the date so others can check out your book. Little
I'm
Big
not sure,
Detectives, correct?
I'm
Okay.
not sure yet about the date, but I will post it because it's still in the last editing phase. So my
Okay.
editor will send it soon, and I will
Okay.
probably publish it as soon as it's ready.
Great.
But
Congratulations. That's
there,
awesome.
thanks, thanks.
That's awesome. All right. So, is there an email address anyone can reach out to if they have any comments or, any thing that they want to, discuss with you or just to say hello?
Can I write it here in my comment because
Yes,
it's
please.
strange to pronounce it? It's my maiden name, it's Romanian, and if I pronounce it, no one will understand it. Here in Germany, I'm used to it, so sorry, something got.
But you can also find Alexandra on Instagram at Kimituka.
Yes,
I like that
yes.
name. It's Kimituka. So follow her at Kimituka, and here she has it. Her email address is here. If you have any questions or if you want to purchase a copy of her book, it's available on Amazon. And I thank you very much, Alexandra, for taking the opportunity to
Thank you.
once again. We didn't have any internet problems. Woohoo!
Yeah,
So
that was
that's
great.
awesome. And I thank you so much for, tuning in. And I look forward to, reading your children's book. I think I'm gonna definitely get it maybe for one
Thanks.
of my niece. And I'm also waiting to hear back if you're definitely do a sequel to, Stories for the Heart. So that would be awesome. All right.
Thank
Take
you
care,
very much.
Alexandra.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining in. It was a very powerful conversation about death, something that we don't like to talk about because it's such a taboo topic. We don't want to hear anybody dying. We don't want to know, it's just always talked about is suffering and how we suffer through that, but that doesn't have to be that way. And it's so important that you learn to accept that this is part of the natural flow of life and know that even if someone leaves you physically, they're always with you in presence. Now, stay tuned. I'll be back at 2 p.m. with Mrs. Yasmin Brown. We're going to talk about her book in her actually series, the Deliverance series. I have her book here, The Silent Destruction, and we're talking about abuse. This is going to be a very trigger topic, so if you're not sure if you want to join that live, it's a healing space, it's a safe space, and feel free to join back at 2 p.m. Okay, everyone, take care and have a lovely day.